Okay, now here is what I am loosely calling this series, if you will, of videos. It's going to be Thoughts of the Week. And I have my handy dandy field notes notebook. I got a larger size because this is a little too small, at least for my liking. I do like that you can put in your pocket and all that good stuff, but it just gets a little cumbersome trying to, get notes in here. It's such a tiny notebook. One of the thoughts, or rather the thought of the week for me, really has been around this idea of taking the path of least resistance. What do I mean by this? I don't mean go the easy route or take the easy way out or avoid difficulty, challenges, or hardships. That's not at all what I'm talking about. What I'm talking about is that many times when we're making decisions or we're going down a particular path, or we're thinking, okay, let me make plans, and I'm going to make plans around this vision that I have, right? A lot of times there could be difficulties around that, and perhaps there's nudges that are trying to move you in a different direction, in a direction that you didn't even know was even possible or conceivable or even a reality for yourself. Now, another way of saying this is that doors open, right, when it's the right path for you, and doors close as well. And the best way of knowing which path to go down, or what decisions to make, or what path you're being led down to, or into, or what path that is calling to you, are what is called confirmations, witnesses. In other words, if you hear the same thing twice or three times, or if there is just people, could be, let's say someone says something. For me, for example, I was told this week, God doesn't waste anything, by one person in a conversation. And then 20 minutes later, a completely different person, no connection to that first person, no idea of that first conversation that I was having, just completely separate topic, completely different. No way of knowing that the first person told me God doesn't waste anything, and the second person tells me the exact same thing, God doesn't waste anything. So what does that tell me? It tells me that I'm going down the path that essentially God wants me to go down, right? And with that concept of God doesn't waste anything, and if we look back, and what that means is, if we look back to the experiences, to the circumstances, the highs and the lows, everything in between, God uses all that to prepare us for our next step, building us up for that next step, that next chapter of our journey, right? We're all on an adventure here, hopefully, and we're trying to figure out our way. At least I can say that personally. I'm always trying to figure out my way, and just always had this pull towards something. There's always that something next, within a specific context, right? I do this obviously, but then I'm trying to do my own freelance work, and I'm trying to figure out, like, what do I do with this, right? Like, what niche do I want to go down, or invest time and energy into, right? Well, because I've done so many different things, granted, around this topic of workforce development, nonprofit, serving, if you will, in different capacities when it comes to working with, around food rescue, homelessness, recidivism, and youth, adults, older folks, veterans, what have you, right? Kind of, working with employers. There's a whole just randomness to it, but again, God doesn't waste anything. And so in that second conversation, it was based around supporting a local organization, in the area that I live in, and all those experiences add them up. It equals to this conversation, and the ask and the question there is, can I do X, Y, and Z? And I just so happen to be able to do X, Y, and Z. Because why? God doesn't waste anything. Ergo, that path of least resistance is drawing us into, God is drawing us into that path, right? We don't have to hit our heads against the wall and have things not happen, right? I think you can think about a time in your life, or many times in your life, when you're trying to do something, it just doesn't seem to be working out, and you're just like, what am I doing wrong? You're not doing anything wrong necessarily, you're just not going down the path that God wants you to go down. So you have to figure out, okay, what am I being told? What experiences, feelings, emotions, smells, whatever the case is, 2-3 witnesses. You will, if you're really asking, and if you're really seeking and searching and praying, you will get those confirmations, you will get those answers. But you must do so wholeheartedly. You must wholeheartedly ask and seek and search. And I think that's really what that means for me as far as going down the path of least resistance. It should not be difficult in that way of, you have those witnesses, you have those confirmations, then you know, okay, that's the next step I need to take. You're looking, you're seeking, you're searching, 2-3 witnesses, okay, you go down that step again. Or you take that step, right? So then you know, okay, I can confidently say this is the step I need to take, this is the direction I'm going to go in, and God's walking you through that step, is walking with you along that journey. If that's something you believe in, right? And that's something I do believe in, so I want to impart on you all, and encourage you all to seek and search and pray for those answers. Believe me, they will come. And I can tell you from experience this past week, literally within 20 minutes, I'm told God doesn't waste anything. So I know I can confidently move forward. And so with that, I just encourage everyone to, again, seek, search, and pray wholeheartedly, because I think all of us can be confused, can be lost, can be just in a place of maybe hopelessness or transition, or just a sense of ambiguity, right? We don't know to go left or right, up or down. So with that, wholeheartedly seek, search, and pray. You will get those confirmations. You will have 2-3 witnesses tell you that God is pointing you in this certain direction, and you can take that next step. And then you can repeat that process over and over again, so you can confidently take that next step. And so just wanted to quickly share that experience with you all, and again, give encouragement to you, whoever it is that's listening, and hopefully you can take something away from this video, and appreciate whomever is able to take the time to listen to this. And with that, I bid you all adieu.